had the operation same day, got out, got home, and then 3 months later I was can kicking.
I'm going to go right back to the beginning.
Go on.
But we're going to go pre-Pop Idol.
Oh, have we then?
We're going to go back to Butlins.
Butlins!
Barbie.
Miss Barbie.
Miss Barbie at
I was
Butlins.
Miss Barbie.
How old were you?
5?
Oh,
Yeah, 5.
Imagine 5-year-old
Miss
Zoe
Barbie.
Birkett.
But you know what it was? I won all the free holidays back then.
Did you?
I did all the caravan parks. I did. My dad used to put me in for the competitions, singing, the dancing, the Miss whatever, and there I was.
And you'd win a holiday?
And I'd win a holiday every time.
Oh my God, that's
Guaranteed
iconic.
to come back next year for free.
Yeah, I love that. They're like, go on, get her in there. Get her in
Literally,
there.
we want another holiday, so we get them and sing. Go on.
Absolutely. And you were also the bonniest baby in the Northeast.
I was. That was at 18 months.
18 months,
Yeah.
yeah. You did an M&S campaign as
I
a
did.
child.
I was a my butt was on the Pampers too.
No way!
I was a Pampers baby as well. When that was a thing like back in the day.
So you've had a sensational ass for your whole life.
Well, yes. Yeah,
That's
don't
amazing.
brag. Yeah.
I don't mean to brag, but yes.
My
Yes,
mum's
I
pretty
have.
famous, yeah.
So good. So good. And so when you were sort of like in school and growing up, I know your mum used to be a singer, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then your dad had a mobile disco.
My dad is still to this day a DJ, 70s
No way.
DJ. Yeah, he gets dressed up. His stage name is Vince Charisma. Yeah, and he gets dressed up in 70s gear. He does silent discos and stuff. He plays original vinyl records. My mum always used to do Tina Turner and stuff around the house, and used to go and do clubs. So I've been brought up with music all my life.
Yeah, so very sort of musical upbringing. Did you do
Yes.
theatre when you were a kid as well?
Yeah, I did loads. I mean, my first professional theatre show was Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. And then I did Roald Dahl's The Twits. Yeah, I was in The Twits by Roald Dahl. So I did loads of and these were all big professional productions at the time. Wasn't and I did the school ones as well, of course. But from about 9 and 10, I started doing musical theatre.
And so you actually did professional productions when you were a child. And that's so full circle. I love that.
Yeah.
2 full circles there. Your mum singing Tina Turner and now you are Tina.
I know, yeah.
And also you were in the Twits and then you just did the
I
national.
did the Riches, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's been bizarre.
What else? Maybe they'll do Barbie the movie too and you'll do
and
that.
I could be Miss Barbie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calling my agent as we get out of here. Yeah.
And we'll have to get your bum out at some point in something.
No.
Yeah, hair maybe?
Hair. I've done hair.
Oh, there we go. She's
I
done
was
it.
naked, actually.
Full circled.
Yeah, I was.
Full circled that one already. And so let's skip a little bit forward. Because you went to a normal school, you did your exams and everything.
Yes.
And then at 16?
16, yeah.
16, you auditioned for Pop Idol.
Yes.
So what was that sort of in your mind? Because before Pop Idol, now we know exactly what to expect. And we have sort of a layout of what reality TV looks like. When I did it, I was like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I know how it works. And then you go to judge's house and then you go to, because I'd watched you. You didn't have that.
No, I had
So
nothing.
what did you sort of, when you auditioned for Pop Idol, was there did you have a route through it in mind or were you just like, well, I'll just go and see?
Just go and see. I mean, at the time, pre-Pop Idol, I'd been doing so many auditions for as an example, I was auditioning for S Club Juniors. I was too old, S Club 7, I was too young. I'd been doing
you were in
loads
the
of
last
things.
12 for S Club 7.
Yes, I've been doing loads of, again, auditions that to be in a form of pop group or to be, a pop star. I'd done as well within the Northeast. Locally, I was making a name for myself as a singer, with lots of events, doing lots of Northeast Talent Tonight, which is your local TV show, and you sing, you do singing competitions. I'd sung for Tony Blair, who at the time was the Prime Minister. I'll never forget this, actually.
Yeah, what?
He, you missed this off your research, Lucie Jones.
I did, yeah. Literally, I know about Miss Barbie at 5, and I don't know about the Tony Blair thing.
Yeah. So Tony Blair was Prime Minister at the time. And the school that I was at wasn't, it was a normal school. And Tony Blair had come to visit the school and cut the ribbon and stuff. It was just being turned into a music college. And I had to sing a song. Can't remember at the time what I sang. And then about 2 or 3 weeks later, my head teacher and the head of music pulled me into a class and just said, listen, the people from Tony Blair have written and they would love for you to come and sing for his son Leo's christening, which is going to be held in Sedgefield, which was local to us at the time. I was like, right, okay, I think I was 13 or 14. You're having a song that's been written for you. You need to learn this song. It's called The Christening. I was like, okay, I'll never forget that. And these are the lyrics. They'd been like handwritten because we didn't do computers and things back then. Someone just jotted these lyrics down for me. I was like, okay, go away, learn this song. You're going to go through it with Mr. Ramsey, who's my music teacher at school, and then you're going to go and sing it on the day. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. My family obviously were freaking out. Like, the Prime Minister has chosen you to come and sing at his son's christening, and you're just cool and calm. And I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Wasn't until I got there, and obviously there was helicopters going around. There was like, I think Bill Clinton was there. He got flown over in the helicopter. There was like security everywhere. There was screaming fans. There was TV crews. And I was there in my school freaking uniform, like with my little lyric sheet, like, I'm just going to go and sing this song, I think. And I walked in, sung the song as they were all coming down, and Leo was having his head christened. And then I had to go back to school. I came out, and I'll never forget. First of all, I remember my dad screaming his head off at the gates, going, Zoe! Zoe! And I was like, yeah. And he handed me this thing, and I was like, what is it? What is it? And at the time, I was obsessed with Britney Spears, right? And I opened it up, and my dad had got me Britney Spears tickets to go and see her on tour. And I was like, this is insane. I got back to school, and everyone was like, how was the christening? And I was like, I've got Britney Spears tickets! Like, that's all I cared about. That's all I cared about. But that was like my first little introduction of like, okay, I might be quite good at this singing thing because I'm getting invited to do some cool stuff. And the Pop Idol situation was, there used to be every Thursday a newspaper called The Stage, because there was no Instagram, there was no social media. And every Thursday before I went to school, I would go and I would stand outside WH Smith and I would wait for this Stage newspaper to come.
I used to do that.
Did you? Mm-hmm. And circle off auditions, things that were going on, what I wanted to do. And there was a one for Pop Idol, and then also it was advertised on like a GMTV or something. And my mum filled out the form, sent me for an audition. But yeah, we were completely blind, had no scope on what it was going to like, had no idea how huge it was going to be. And I just got thrust into this crazy world at 16. It was like the most surreal time of my life, for sure.
When you auditioned for Pop Idol, were there producer rounds pre-judge?
Yes, there was quite a few.
So you did all of those, and then when you went in and did your first judges audition, you sang I Will Always Love You.
Yes, I did.
Which was also my first
audition song.
Yeah. And so obviously I knew this anyway because I had the video.
Okay.
Do you remember they did the Pop Idol video?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was all there.
Are you really hardcore Pop Idol fan?
Oh, babe.
Are you really? Why have we never had this discussion?
Because I want to be cool.
We've never had this conversation all the years.
Desperately trying to be cool in like all of my life. Am I not cool,
Lucie Jones?
No, I'm trying to be cool for you.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, just to be really clear. Oh my God. When I did Les Mis with Gareth Gates back in 2010, I never forget about this.
Go on.
My mother had just cleaned out my bedroom, like my childhood bedroom, and she'd found...
Oh no, what did she find?
Oh God, I can't believe I'm telling this story. She'd found a notebook full of letters that I'd written to Gareth.
To Gareth?
She brought it to London.
No, not that.
And she handed it to him at stage door and was like, Law, how cute is this? And like, bless him, he's gorgeous. So he was like, oh, this is so cute. And I was like, no!
What?
Because I was only 19. I was like,
right.
what the?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did he read them?
He had about approximately 8 seconds before I like dive-bombed on her.
And had them back.
But yeah, no, I loved it. I loved it. So yes, I Will Always Love You.
You had the VHS?
I had the VHS, and I used to watch it on my little TV that had a video player in my room.
Yep.
Surrounded by posters of you all. I
Love
literally thought Get Happy was your original song.
Judy Garland.
And I was like, wow, what great song they've written for Big Band Week.
Yeah.
Big Band Week.
Yeah, Big Band Week.
Oh, I love it. When I sing that song, I sing your version.
Good.
Even now.
That's what I like to hear.
Absolutely. Well, yes,
you know what's mad?
Well, you must. It is your version.
Well, what is mad is over the years, if I've gone to, like, I'll never forget one time specifically, I went to an audition and I'm sat outside as normal, waiting to go in, and this girl like looked at me and then kind of looked back, and I was like, she all right? And I was like, you all right, baby, we're next, yeah? She was like, yeah. And I was like, what's wrong? And she went, she got out and she had the pop and she went, I'm singing your fucking song.
No way!
And yeah. And I was like, oh, she's like, I can't believe I'm about to sing Get Happy in front of the girl who sings this song and you're in after me. And I was like,
oh my God,
I'm not singing
I
Get Happy,
that.
So you're all right.
That's so
really
good.
Cute. It's been really nice.
Oh, I love that. That's so nice. It was me.
It was you, yeah.
Imagine. That was actually me. So you did the first audition and you're sort of getting through, and you are, yes, you've done things locally, but you're not famous.
No.
All of a sudden overnight, you're incredibly famous. Mm-hmm. And I've sort of experienced this. It was years later and it was dulled down for me. for you guys, you literally, I remember it so clearly because I followed the show and was like, what are these people's lives? Like, how is this happening? You're just in school and like, yes, you've done, you know, you've met Bill Clinton and you've done thing and you've got Britney Spears tickets. But all of a sudden, you're one of 4 people in the country that we need everywhere. Yeah. And what does that do to you as a 16-year-old?
Do you know what? I think because I was so young, and I've always said this, I'm really thankful I did it when I did it. Me too. Because I was so unaware of what was going on. I was very well looked after within the first series. I do have friends over the years who've continued to do reality TV shows, and it has changed a lot, and they don't get the care and the love that they need and deserve. But we were very much looked after, and because I was 16, and Gareth and I, we just were connected because he was 17. So we were chaperoned everywhere. Gareth and I were the youngest contestants, and then we had Whale and Hayley, who were 27. So there was a big 10-year age gap between us. So me and Gareth were like gel all the time, here, there, and everywhere together. Our parents were with us constantly. There was no Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, nothing like that. There was nothing where trolls are going to be like, oh, you sang a bomb note that week. There was nothing like that at all. There was newspapers, but because they were adult newspapers, they weren't shown to me at all. So I was just living in this like really fun bubble of like going to Wembley Fountain Studios and having like mad screaming fans at the windows at Fountain.
That's where we did X Factor.
Was it? Yeah, it was at Fountain.
Which is now the Troubadour
The
Theatre.
Troubadour, yeah. And having like crazy, I'm talking like thousands of fans outside being like, rah, the windows, bang the windows. And every now and again, just for like shits and giggles, me and Gareth would be like, we'd close the curtain, then we'd be like, at the window and be like, yeah, it's us. It was a crazy time, but I think because I was young, I didn't feel, if I'm being completely honest, now that I'm almost 40, and speaking to my parents over the years, I think they found it more difficult than I did. Yeah. Because I was just having this great time, but I've learned so much of what my parents went through. You know, they had to carry on having their normal lives, going to work. My mum, we would have paparazzi outside of our council house in the northeast, and and the neighbours would be like, what on earth? And we were like, are we going to have to move? We had to change our phone number. But to me, it was all fun. But for the parents' side of things, it was pretty scary for my parents.
Yeah, and now that you're a parent as well, I'm sure you can relate to that even more. Yeah. I remember this, and I saw it again recently. A clip of you saying, since I've been on the show and my audition has aired, things have really changed for me. I got a letter from this woman, and it just said, Zoe Birkett, Darlington, pop idol. Yeah. And it got to your house. Yeah. That's how easily accessible.
Yes.
Everyone is.
The Royal Mail men knew exactly where I lived.
Absolutely. Of course they did.
Deliver. I mean, there was, honestly, sometimes they would just deliver a sack. They would save it up and then would just put a sack on my door of like fan letters. Yeah. And this is hand on heart, the truth. My mum used to make me read and reply to every single letter without fail. She's like, it will keep you humble.
You're good at that now, though. For you.
Yeah, I love that. Listen, I've got so much time for fans at Stage Door. I'll always be there. 9 times out of 10, I'll be there beforehand. I'm like, I'll come meet you outside if you want. Like, should we go and have a coffee or whatever? But it's important. They've been with me for over 25 years now. Yeah. And I'm gaining new ones, you know, the more things that I do, which is lovely. But yeah, back in the day, it was literally Zoe Birkett Pop Idol, dump. There was my fan mail. And my mum was like, right, you can sit down. There's all the photos that I've printed out. You can sign them all and reply to all the letters. And I was like, yes, mum, you know.
I love it, though. Maybe that's why you are who you are. Like, you're so grounded. And I hate saying, oh, you're so grounded and normal. Oh, wow. Like, it's just a job. But it is. It's an incredible vocation and career that we do. But you are, of all of the people that I've met over the years, you are one of the most exactly the same as you have been since you won that Barbie competition. There's no pretense. There's no airs and graces. You are who you are. You're very easy to connect to and speak to. And maybe that is because your mum would sit you down and be like, these people have taken time to write you a letter, and you will reply to them and you will connect with them.
I think family to me is everything, and I'm very lucky that the family that I have since the beginning, we are very, very close, very tight. And I think when you are from a hard-working family as well, when you, I guess, come from nothing. Again, I was, you know, born and raised in a council home in the middle of the northeast, very much Billy Elliot that you see on the film. That was where I was from, and not many people get out, and not many people, you know, do well. So not just my family. Whenever I even go back to visit the northeast now, people are like, Zoe's home, and I'll go down the town centre, and they'll be like, how are you doing, pet? Come on, and it's mad because I always get asked, will you come back to the northeast to do a show? But I don't really tour anymore since having my daughter. But whenever I do a tour, so like 2 years ago, I went back into Bodyguard very quickly for five weeks. And the reason why I did is because one of the legs over the 5 weeks, I was in the Northeast for 2 weeks. And it sells very, very quickly because people sometimes from the Northeast and from working class backgrounds can't afford to come to London, can't afford to come to the West End. Ticket prices are now through the roof. So whenever I get a chance to go back to to my Northeast roots, it's always a lovely warm welcome. I always want to go and do a little, stint there whenever I can. I've even said to Tina, I'm obviously in town with Tina, but I've said, you do know if you go to the Northeast, it'll sell. I mean, it'll sell anyway, take me for that little stint. But they're like, can you do the whole tour? No. I can't do the whole tour.
No, I just want to do that week.
I just want to do that 1 week and then I'll come back to town. But family and just general support within the Northeast since the very beginning has been honestly incredible.
You are who you are because of where you grow up, and it's the same for everyone, but not many people can really hold on to that through their lives and their careers. And you do see it, and you see it everywhere, and you see like change. But with you, it's so apparent. And I was looking at your exit interview from Big Brother.
Go on.
And the way that you spoke about like every question you got asked, it came back around to, but I'll be hugging my mum in a minute. Yeah. But my dad's there. Yeah. But I was thinking about my parents. But I was thinking about my family. And it was so lovely. And I genuinely feel like that's a thread through your whole career, is that they've always been with you that whole way. And now,
don't even get me upset.
No, but it's so lovely. And I have the same thing. My parents and my brother and my best friends from like sixth form and stuff, they're still with me. Yeah. And I really feel like they don't let you get away with anything.
Nope.
So if there ever was a moment where you, like sometimes I would literally be like, I could tell them, I'm interviewing Zoe Birkett. And they'll go, I'm interviewing Zoe fucking Birkett.
Yeah,
look at me.
That's my lot.
But it's so good because then you roll your eyes, you get on with it, and then they talk about their accounting job or whatever.
Yeah.
But now you have, of course, your partner and your lovely little one as well. Yeah. And your life is completely different. I want to talk a little bit about your life being different as well because of your health. So you, 13 years old, you get diagnosed with arthritis.
So I didn't realize I had osteoarthritis until 3 years ago.
Okay.
But when I was 13, before I was a singer, all I wanted to do was be a dancer. My whole life was like, I just want to dance. Me too. She got two left feet.
I'm a terrible dancer, Zoe.
Honestly, dancing, that's all I wanted to do. I did like acro, gymnastics, hip hop, street, all of it. I was like, my dream was to be a backing dancer for Britney Spears. Like that was the goal, right? Singing didn't even like come into it until later down the line. And then when I got to 13, I started limping really, really badly. And my mum's always said I've like always walked with a little limp when I was a baby. But when I hit 13 and I was really dancing on it every day in training, I just noticed something was wrong. Went for a scan. They said, your hip's actually out of the socket. I was like, is it right now? Yeah. Like it's been out probably for a long time. So I've been walking around, hobbling around, just being like, I've got a bit of a limp today.
But
just
also
taking
dancing on that
and dancing on it, yeah. So I went in straight away and had pins put in my left hip first. Had them in for 18 months. They were removed. Did Pop Idol. It still wasn't right. I've always had like pain in my hip. Then when I decided to have Aria, I fell pregnant. Carrying that extra weight on my left leg, I was like, something is wrong. It's not right. I couldn't wear a heel anymore. I couldn't really sit down. Went to the doctors, and the first kind of shock for me, I think naturally as a mother, you kind of, there's a stigma around motherhood and birth. They're like, are you going to push, or are you too posh to push? And I'm like, no, I
hate that so much.
It's honestly, it's such a thing. How are you having a baby? Like, I don't know. I haven't even thought about that, to be honest. And
but also the
doctors,
judgment, like
the
too
judgment,
much to push.
literally the judgment. So the doctor said to me straight away, because of your past and your hips, you were not going to be able to have a natural labour anyway. Right. And I was like, okay, so that rules that out. Okay, fine. You're going to have a planned section. And why it's going to be planned is because if, for whatever reason, Ari was to come early, I would have to be like rushed off immediately and have an operation on my hips again. Okay, so that was kind of my first thing during pregnancy. I was carrying too much weight. It was really painful for me. Then having to be like, I can't drop too early because then I'll have to have another operation on my hip. Lovely, wonderful birth. Anyway, to cut that story short. After the birth, however, I noticed again, I literally couldn't put on a shoe. I've never been able to cross my legs. Like, this is massive for me. To sit with my legs crossed, I've never been able to do that in my life. Couldn't touch my shoes, couldn't bend down. It wasn't until like my husband was like, we're going to put a disabled toilet in the downstairs room. I was like, what? He was like, you're not right. Like, you can't even walk to the park. I'd do 2 minutes down the road. I'd turn back round. Couldn't sit on the toilet properly. So I went and had a private scan. This was in the middle of a pandemic, so NHS was swamped. Paid for this private scan. And then, I went and saw a private doctor because they won't tell you your results after the scan. And he just said, you need a full hip replacement. And I was like, sorry? I was like, I'm literally
33.
I was just like, are you kidding me? I was like, I'm not 85. Like, he was like, no, you've got severe bone-on-bone osteoarthritis. Like, the pins won't do it, no steroid injections, no nothing. Your whole hip is done. You need a whole brand new one, a stem, a socket, everything. And I was like, this just floored me because this was at a time where the pandemic, I'd been out of work for like 18 months anyway. Things were slowly starting to open up. And I was like, I've just auditioned for Moulin Rouge. And I was like, well, I've just done this audition with this, the pain that I was in Moulin Rouge was hilarious for this audition. But I got through it. And then I was like, okay, how long will it take? Where do I go? NHS is swamped. 18 months, they said, for the waiting list for a hip replacement. Okay, can't wait 18 months. Went and had a private consultation with a guy in Chelsea who does athletes, top-end people, Andy Murray, people like that, all tennis stars. And he was like, if you come in next week, you'll be ready for Moulin Rouge in 3 months. And I was like, impossible. I know.
What?
I know. This is like, this is one of the craziest weeks of my life because I literally got a yes for Moulin Rouge. Bear in mind, I auditioned with a terrible hip.
With no hip.
With no hip.
Literally no hip.
My surgeon said, come in next week. And I was like, am I going to be even ready for Moulin Rouge? Am I going to be able to tell the producers that actually I can't do it anymore because I'm not going to be ready? Kept going back and forth with my surgeon. Are you sure I'm going to be ready? He was like, if you get fit as much as you can now, pre-op, the next week, and then continue to do fitness for the rest of your life, your hip will be the best you've ever had it in your life because all I know is pain. I was like, got to do it. Obviously, no money in the middle of the pandemic. Had to use my savings. Got this done. Had the operation same day, got out, got home. 2 days later, he called me, my surgeon. He went, okay, the countdown is on. You've literally got 3 months until Moulin Rouge. Get up. And I was literally like, yeah.
Can you see me like shrinking?
Get up. I was like, right, okay. He was like, you need high protein. You need to be walking for 2 hours a day with the crutches. I was like, right,
I don't do that now.
Honestly, it was the most intense 3 months I've ever had in my life because at the same time, I've got my agent going, are we turning this down or are we doing it? And I was like, well, I've just had no money for 18 months. This is like one of the best shows I've ever wanted to be in coming across from Broadway. I need to be in this show. This role is perfect for me. Sign the contract, we're going to do it. And he's like, are you going to be ready? I was like, yeah, I'm going to be ready. I was like, I know my mind. I'm going to do it. So 3 months, 2 hour walking a day, 1 crutch, then started walking without, then started hydrotherapy, then started swimming. My wonderful husband transformed our garage into a gym because all the gyms were still kind of closed from the pandemic. He made me a gym. I started training, started doing lots of spinning, building up muscle in my left leg. And then 3 months later, I was can kicking. Basically.
I can't.
It's mad.
I mean, I used to live near you in a previous part of London, in a previous home.
Yep.
And I'd occasionally go to the gym and I'd see Zoe in there and she would be like, literally like, she looks like she's been swimming on the treadmill. So I was like, how are you doing this? You pushed yourself so hard. And this was way before any of that. But your body now and like the things that you can do with your body and your new hip. Congratulations.
Thank
Hi,
you.
hip.
She's
Welcome.
wonderful.
Welcome
the
to
best
the party.
thing I ever bought.
Does she have a name?
Ever. She hasn't got a name. Maybe we should name her today. She hasn't got a name, but I mean...
Think about it. We'll take suggestions at the end.
Honestly, I get so many pictures, and now I share it on social media. I didn't tell anybody, especially in Moulin Rouge. I told the producers, I told the physio, and they were fantastic. Just really quickly on this, one of the best things for me that happened in Rouge, in rehearsals, the choreographer, Beth, she said to me, just so you know, you're going to be front and centre in the can-can kick. You're starting the can-can, and then the ensemble girls are going to come and join you. And I was like, I'm starting the can-can. Like, I've got like a 90-degree like leg going on here. She was like, you're going to be fine. I've got a few weeks to try and stretch it out. So I was there with my band every day, stretching out my hip replacements. Like, come on. And I remember towards the back end of rehearsals, I said to her, I really don't think I'll be able to sustain this 8 shows a week for 12 months. Please, I beg of you, please take me out of the can-can line. She was like, can you call your surgeon? And I was like, oh my God. She was like, and it was so lovely. She was like, we need your energy front and center. And I was like, okay. She went, and I was like, what about all the ensemble girls who can kick higher than me? She was like, doesn't matter. I need you front and center. If your surgeon tells me that you can't do it, that's fine. But if you're currently panicking over nothing, I'm not having it because I know you're better than that. And I was like, okay. So I called my surgeon. I was like, fucking please, get me out of this. Come on, please.
Be on my team. Be on my
please.
side.
Anyway, the only thing she can't do is the splits. And I was like, what?
Is that not basically the splits?
Well, I mean, anyway, so then yeah, but do you know what, that for me set my mind for like even things like now doing Tina. I'm like, I know I can do it. I'm just listening to like my self-doubt. I can do it. I can push myself. I'm very, very strong. I'm the strongest I've ever been. I've got a hip of a 16-year-old now. Like she's fab. So
well, she's only, what is she, 3?
She's 3 years old.
Aww,
in May.
Bless. We'll have a party. Maybe we'll have a naming ceremony at the birthday ceremony, party.
Yeah, let's go.
3rd birthday party and naming ceremony. You can sing the christening song.
And I can sing the christening song.
There we go. Lovely. Do you remember it?
No.
No.
Don't even
that would
try
have been
that.
good, wouldn't it?
I saw where you were going with that one, by the way.
That would have been really good. I found this thing when I was looking at some research for today, which blew my mind because it comes from a different time. Mm-hmm. You did a TV show, which was called Lose 4 Stone or something.
Yeah,
like
6 weeks. Lose a stone in 6 weeks, I think. It was called Get a Holiday Body. That's what it was called.
Oh, I'm so aggressive about this shit, man.
That's
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
But it's wild to me that somebody who you didn't know you had this hip thing. Mm-hmm. And so you're just like going about your career and you get opportunities and this thing comes up for you.
Yeah. That's
like, oh, you could probably do with getting a holiday body.
Yeah.
How much of that have you come up against in your career? Because I get it every day.
I mean, yes and no. Sometimes early years, people be like, oh, you know, you got some puppy fat to lose and things like that in the very, very beginning. And it's mad you say that because I actually found some newspaper clippings because my mum, who now lives at the end of my garden, which is fantastic. Oh my God, no way. Yeah, we bought this lovely, long story short, lovely plot of land that's got a house and then a house at the end of the garden. And then my mum and her husband lives at the end.
Oh,
so she's brought all the Pop Idol stuff and we're having a look at bits and bobs and some newspapers. And there was a newspaper clip that she'd kept. We were just shaking our heads like, this is insane. Zoe Fatso or something like that, like was the headline. Because I was walking down the street with a bag of chips, right? And they were like, she shouldn't be eating chips.
When you were like 16?
When I was 16.
And you were
like
sensational?
That time was for that and shaming was crazy. But again, my parents are very, very good at keeping a lot of the stuff, away from me. But as I've gotten older, yeah, I mean, after I had Aria, of course, I'd gained about 3 stone. And that's when the show came around. And to me, it was more of a selfish opportunity to try and get fit again, to be honest. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. What's that? I get a few free trainer and I get a free nutritionist.
Yeah.
Why not?
Nice.
And it was more that than anything. And then that was my first moment where I took fitness seriously. I learned so much about food. I actually became a pescatarian after that for 2.5 years. And the first couple of years of Aria being born, she was pescatarian. It wasn't until I had my hip replacement that I started to introduce meat into my diet and high protein. But since, there's been a lot of shaming. There's been a lot of racism throughout my life. Ageism as well. Now I'm getting older and I'm still feeling fabulous. And they're like, you're almost 40. You shouldn't be wearing that type of heel. Oh yes, I will.
Can't we just live our life without ism? Come on, it's ridiculous.
I know. But I don't. To be honest, I think again because of where I come from and my surroundings that I have, I just don't give a shit. I'm very happy. I'm trying to raise a young girl in this crazy society, and I just want her to be, confident and love herself, and especially with the powers of social media right now. I do a thing called post and go. I post something and then I will go and I will leave it. I'm not a scroller, and what I don't want is for my daughter to be kind of trapped into this social media world that isn't really real. I wanted to keep her head up, go out and experience the world, explore and be confident and, not care whether she gets 1 like or no likes, as long as you're loved and you love yourself. Is important.
The perfect role model for that. You are the perfect role model for that.
Thank you.
And I think it's really important to say as well, like touching on that racism thing, that sexism, racism, fatism, whatever you want to call it. We've had all of it. Mm-hmm. I obviously don't get the racism, but everything else I have, and I'm with you. But my God, the things that you have done and the energy that you have and that you give to everyone around you, even now, I sound like I do this podcast so that I can big people up and like lick their ass. But I swear to God, every time I'm anywhere near you, I'm like, what? woman.
Thank you, Liz.
What an energy, and you're so incredible at your job. Let's get into this.
Go on.
You're currently playing Tina.
I am.
Tina the Turner musical.
Yeah, I am.
I mean,
An absolute honour.
not only
Beyond.
an honour, it's
Beyond.
mammoth.
Yeah, it's mammoth. It's mammoth. Like,
So, how many shows do you do?
I do 5. I do 5 a week maximum, and that's, again, it always has been that way. I think this is one of the first years they've done 5. They used to do 4 and 4, so we've pushed it this year. I'll be honest with you, I was one of the people that pushed for more shows. I was
Really?
like, I can do 6 or 7, to be honest. And
I've
they were
got
like,
a 3-year-old hip. I can do whatever you
I
want.
can do whatever you need. I'm brand new now, girls. But they were like, no, slow down. Let's just start with a 5 because it's new for us as well. I was like, okay, great. So I do 5 and 3, which is lovely. And I share it with a wonderful woman called Karis, who's phenomenal as well. And she's been part of the show for a couple of years now. And at the beginning, it was absolutely terrifying for sure because, again, thinking about my hip, I've never done fights before, ever in my life. So I had to do, like, it's called a Tina boot camp, and we had to do this whole fight call training. And we do fight call every single day before the show to make sure that we're safe. But it is full out. I mean, forget the singing, forget the story of Tina, which is emotional. We're crying, we're sobbing, we're dealing with abuse throughout the whole 3-hour show. It's a long show. Then we have fights on top of that, as well as the choreography. But the fights are probably the most difficult part, and that's probably why it's if we will never ever do an 8 show. It's impossible for people to do 2.
I think doing 5 Tinas is like doing 12 Alphabas.
Yeah, it's a lot. And do you know what it is? I've always, as I've learned about the role itself, and people never really shine too much light on Tina. I always hear about your Alphabas and you hear the big female lead roles, and I'm like, why is no one? Before I joined, why did I never hear about these women that are playing Tina? Because it is nuts. From the moment you open, you're the first thing you see on that stage. That curtain goes up, it is us. And there's an expectancy already because you're not playing yourself, you're playing someone else and you're portraying someone's life. And that already adds pressure to your shoulders. And people are like, you better sound good for a start. And then not only that, as an actress, and I've really loved acting this role, you have to really deliver the story because the story, forget Tina's legacy as an artist and a musician, the legacy that she holds as a woman, the story is the most important thing. And that for me, joining was the vital thing that I wanted to portray as an actress. I said, I have got to get this right as an actress. It's important for me to show the journey of Anna May becoming Tina Turner. I wanted to really, and I said this to the director, I think it's a hard one to cast because you have to be able to sing it. So they've had people who've been able to sing it, but then maybe were slightly weaker as an actress or as a dancer or, whatever. But because I got acting experience, I said, this year, I can sing it. I need to hone in every time I'm on that stage on the story. It's important. And that's one of the things that I've loved more than anything. I love her back catalogue. I've grown up with my mum singing Tina Turner, so I knew that I had that in my bones. But yeah, the story and sharing that truthfully as much as I can has been the most important for me every time I step on that stage. Because people don't realise. They think they're going to come and have a clap along and sing along with the story. And Act 1 is brutal. If you can get through Act 1 of Tina Turner, you can do anything. Like, honestly, you can do anything because everything in Act 1 is the hardest. You are screaming your head off all the time in the fights. You're doing all the big, hard Tina Turner choreography because as she got older, she didn't do as much. So Act 2 is a bit easier on that sense. You are singing all the big, singing all the big screaming hits that she has. You got to place it in a screamy place. So yeah, if you can get through Act 1, you're all right.
We did a job together at the end of last year in the Palladium for Magic, and David Hunter, Carrie Hope Fletcher, and I did your backing vocals.
You did.
It
was iconic. It was an iconic moment.
But Zoe turned up to this rehearsal, right? It was like, I don't know, 10 in the morning, something, 11 a.m. And she's got rollers in her hair. She's at the end of a week of shows as well. Yeah. She comes in and they're like, oh, we're just going to do it. She's like, I won't do it full out if that's okay. I'll just, but like at the end, I'll do, and she did it. She just sort of, it came out of her and I literally went, what the? I just like took a step back. And then she was like, okay, well, let's do it. So the band started playing and we're like laughing to ourselves at how good it is. You know when something's so good, you laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so uncomfortable that it's actually happening that you're like, what is happening? We're stood behind like clicking a rolling.
You were great. They step digging away.
Rolling, yeah. I used to do that in my wedding band, so I was like, I know these vocals, guys. I know these.
I've got this.
I'm good.
You were great. It was
so much fun. But then seeing you do it even in the sound check, it blew me away. seeing you do it in the show and the shock on the audience's faces. It was like a lovely musicals Christmas show. She comes out as Tina and gives full. It was unbelievable.
Thank
I
you.
just couldn't help but think, this is one song that you're doing once today.
Mm-hmm.
When you do this song in the show, this is one of maybe 50 tracks that you're part
Easy.
of?
Yeah.
And how many you have like ridiculous costume changes and
the changes are mad. I do a lot of them on stage with the ensemble, who are fantastic. Wig changes, the wiggies don't even come on. It's the ensemble, so I've always got to give it to them. They're not only doing their track, but they're dressing me as well. It's mad. So many changes, and the changes are. I'm in every single scene. I've done roles before, like The Bodyguard when I played Whitney, where it would be a long slog, but the sister in Bodyguard would have a number to sing, and that would just give me a minute to at least do a wee stop. Like, I'm a mum. That was one of the first things when I joined Teen. I was like, when am I going to pee?
Yeah.
And they were like, you don't. And I was like, no. I've had a child. Like, I need to have a wee at some point in that one. They're like, there is no way.
We're doing lots of like choreography and jumping around here. I'm going to need to pee.
Honestly, I've had to train my bladder, so I have a cut-off time now for my water. So then I'm holding on to it. I'm literally by the end of like River Deep Mountain High. I'm literally like, oh my God, I'm so close to the end. Like, honestly, it's crazy.
I used to get like that in Legally Blonde in Act 1.
Hold it.
I'd be going, I am so much better. Come on, like, let's go.
Yeah.
No, once I very nearly didn't make it. And I haven't got a child.
Yeah,
These are the things you don't think about.
Yeah.
I swear to God, look, because you don't have a chance. You don't have a wee break.
No wee break. That's all.
And this is the thing I'm going to take away from today. Zoe Birkett doesn't get a wee break.
Doesn't get a wee break.
No wee break.
No breath, no nothing. There's like a couple of points where we can have a drink, but other than that, there's nothing. But I've doing this role, I've had to just retrain everything, to be honest, to do this. Vocally, placement, emotional, know when to hold on to emotion, know when to not cry too hard, because then I'm like, oh, my voice is going to go if I cry too hard. So just training stuff, chucking it. The fans will know, some Tina fans in over there. Putting a little sweet in every now and again when I turn the back.
What is your sweet of choice?
An albus oil pastel.
Yeah?
I love an albus oil pastel because it sticks to the back of my teeth, and then it can hold it for like at least 3 songs. It's great.
Have you ever spat it out?
I've never spat it. It's not going anywhere. It's
Was
staying
it like
in.
Stuck
It's
in there.
absolutely
Welded.
stuck. It's welded in. I'm also a fan of Haribo's. I love anything that's sour. That's gonna like get my saliva going a little bit.
Yeah.
So like if I do see my dress, so I'm often, cause I wear a lot of jackets in Act 1, so often I'll do like a little like this, and you won't even know. I'll be like scratching my nose, and then it's a sweet, right? So it's there. I'm telling you guys all these secrets now, aren't I? But then if I do see my dresser, Podest, Haribo, get the Haribo, the extra sour ones, because again, that just like almost revitalizes my saliva.
Gives you a little zing as well.
A little zing, and I'm ready to go.
What do you think is, obviously there are so many elements to playing this particular role. What do you think for you, Zoe, with the new hip, the changed body, the mindset, everything, what for you is the bit that gives you most gratification? You, at the end of a show, is it that you can physically do it? Is it that you can tell that story? Is it that you connect with these people? What is it for you?
It's all of it really, because you get to the end of Simply the Best, which is like the ending, but then we have the finale, and the finale is the moment where it's the mega mix of some of Tina's famous hits that everyone wants, and everyone's up on their feet and they're loving it. But that's where you're the most tired, because because even in the interval we don't get a break, because not to be a spoiler, but in Act 1, the end of Act 1, I'm covered in blood completely, so I have to redo my whole face, makeup, nail varnish, wig, costume, and then all of a sudden it's like Act 2 begins. You're like, what? Okay, quickly get a quick wee out.
Hang on now.
And then you're back on.
You do your nails?
Yeah. In Act 1 we have, so these, I get acrylic red put on. Tina always has red nails. She always has done in her 40s. In Act 1 I play a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old. So I have to have nude nails in Act 1. So in Act 1 I put over a normal nude nail varnish. And then in the interval, I dip my hands in, remover, and reveal the red. Yeah, there's a lot going on to play Tina.
Guys, this is like, okay, Alphaba like sits down in your pants and they re-green you and they give you a smoky eye and a sexy lip and a lash and a contour. But I'm just sat. I'm just sat, having a cup of tea, having a little electrolyte. You're dipping your fingernails.
Yeah, dipping finger, and I mean a full blood. I mean, one of the wiggies who I love, if the fight has gone really great and the audience is like screaming and clapping along, they're waiting for you in the wings because it's very quick. I basically do a fight, run off, and within like 10 seconds I have to have blood covered all over me, my knuckles, and I run back on and do like a whole scene into the hotel in a big monologue, which is very emotional. But in that 10 seconds, sometimes they go crazy with the blood. So like it'll be all over my nose, it'll be all over my face, my chin, my neck, sometimes on the boob, on my knees, on my hands. And I get to the interval and I've literally got to take off my whole face, redo my arms, take it off my legs. And then all of a sudden it's beginners, because I've had to have like a full makeover, a new wig. I've got to have darker makeup in Act 2, I have a red lip, look slightly older, and then, put a bit of glitter on, getting ready for Disco Inferno.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
More glitter, less choreo.
Less choreo, yes.
Yeah, thank God.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, that's like my life rule.
Apart
More
from
glitter, less choreo.
Apart from the Mega Mix, which was what I was at, the Mega Mix, which is like the end.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love it. Last night was amazing. If anyone was in last night, I know we had got a few was in last night. It was unreal. It was International Women's Day yesterday, and it was just fire. And to be on the stage playing one of the most iconic women of all time, I was like, this is a freaking moment. And I was like, I'm going to lose my voice for this. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
You're worth it.
And I rocked really hard, and it was fab. But the Mega Mix, where it is in the show, and obviously the audience, they're waiting for that famous Tina Turner concert. They've just watched this emotional thing. They're exhausted watching me. You've got to really pull some out your arse for that Mega Mix. You're like, right,
it's
like
the
this
payoff.
is it. Yeah, this is the moment. And when you get to the end note, and we have a big screaming note at the end, and we come down, and I take a bow, and that's when I'm most thankful, because I'm like, the audience loved that journey. They were part of that whole journey. I've probably given people something they didn't expect. They thought they were going to come and watch a clap along Tina Turner tribute of some sort, and it is not like that whatsoever. And that's the payoff. Just knowing that you've connected with people, when you can hear people sniffing with tears as well, is always like a great moment for me. I'm like, I've got you now, haven't I? I've really got you good there. But yeah, I think but for me, that moment, going home in my car home, seeing now that I'm on social media, seeing the response from social media has been wonderful. And touch wood, I haven't had one negative, comment, review or anything about playing the role, which means the world to me, because it can happen and everyone's got opinions. I'm not going to be someone's favourite. It doesn't make a difference, but everyone still appreciates my Tina, which is lovely. And sitting at home, my car home, looking through some of my stories and connecting with some people and meeting people at stage door, that's the moments where I'm like, I've done a good job there today.
I feel like for me, it's always that bit.
Yeah.
It's always the meeting people and speaking with people. And I've had positive and negative reviews, conversations at stage door, interactions in the street, all that sort of thing. But you just roll with punches, don't
Absolutely.
you? You just forget about those ones, and you concentrate on the nice ones, because there is a lot of people in this room even that I know because they love what we do, and we cannot do what we do without them loving it.
Absolutely not.
And I genuinely, I've met some wonderful people who've said, this part of that story is connected with my life because of this or whatever. And then you see them again and you remember it and you have this moment of connection. And it means something to them that they've seen you do it. But the fact that you have had that moment with them, it means just as much to us. And I genuinely think that you have that too. Some people, I'm like, they don't care. They want the paycheck.
Even last night,
they're a nice singer, whatever.
No,
but
it sounds so cheesy. Like last night, I came out of stage door and I saw some fans at stage door. So always check in, how you doing, whatever, and ask about them. But then I saw a tuk-tuk, right? It was simply the best. And there were some people who'd obviously been to see the show. And I just screamed, I've been to see Tina. They were like, yeah. I was like, it's me. And they were like, oh my God. And I was like, little things that I'm like, I want to be a part of that experience that you're having such a great time. They were like, we are simply the best on the tuk-tuk down the street. Yeah. And I just wanted to chase them down the street and be like, it's me, babes.
I want that too.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, that's so amazing. That is so... I mean, what about you've played Whitney Houston and Tina Turner?
Madness.
Sorry. What?
Madness.
Does it get more iconic? Is there anyone else you want to play? Like, whether it's written or not?
Yeah, I mean, Etta James. We've got... I get Eartha Kitt a lot. People say, if there's a live story about Eartha Kitt, please play Eartha Kitt.
I get that.
But I mean, like, theatre-wise, I guess, what other shows would you like to do? If Sunset came back, I would love to be nominated. Desmond.
More blood.
Yeah, more bloody blood.
Sensational.
No, not that. Yeah, that one's big old sing. I like anything with a big old sing, but not on like an alphabet level. I think like know your road,
I would love to see you do Alpha Bar.
Absolutely never, ever, ever. If you see me announce as Alpha Bar, I'll be having a midlife crisis. Like, no, it's not in my vocal range. It's in my range, but I'm a rock soul singer.
Oh, no, you're...
So unless you want some like
That's
rock
what
and
I
roll
mean.
Alpha Bar,
I
which
would
would never
love
happen.
that. They might not want it, but
they
we do.
would not have it. They'd be
We
like,
do.
get her out.
All of the fans do. I would love it. Absolutely.
Maybe
love
a gig. All right, maybe a gig.
Come on, let's do
Maybe,
that.
all right, maybe a gig. Just give me.
my
I'm
God.
not singing. I'm not singing it with you though. No, you're all right.
No, I want to watch.
No, no.
I have to be there.
I haven't got all the. That's what I love about Tina, which was very different to Whitney. Whitney was a clean legato, holder, long note singers, long notes. Whereas Tina is just rock and roll. You can kind of get away with being really dirty and like on it, and just and that's what you want. And there's no added pressure to hold a note for like forever. Like I Will Always Love You. Never forget being like every day with the MD. You have to hold that whole note and sing I Will Always Love You and in one breath, the whole thing. You're like yeah, like praying you're gonna hold this whole note because you're gonna get a note off the MD. Whereas with Tina, she's just pure rock and roll.
It must be so fun.
It is. It's great fun.
Do you think it's the most fun you've ever had on stage?
Yeah, I think it is. It's also the most lonely as well because my paths don't really cross. I see everybody within the story, but as far as the role goes and me as Zoe as a human, I love people and I don't get to see anybody. I'm always, I'm a mum, so in the daytime I'm doing, mum stuff. I'm currently in the middle of a house renovation, which is just a headache as well. So I'm doing house stuff. I get to work, and as soon as I get to work quite early, I get to work for about 4:30. And that's when I, make my Tina journey. I shut everything off. I don't like people in the room. I like to be ready by the 15 so that I can say goodnight to my daughter before she goes to bed at 7:30. And I have a whole routine that I don't like to be interrupted with. So with that comes loneliness as well, because I'm not going to be, I do my own warm-up as well. So everyone has a warm-up on stage, but I'm kind of front of house, do my own skipping thing, do my own vocal stuff as well. So in that, although it's the best role I've ever played for sure, it's also probably the most loneliness as well.
Lonely, but simply the best.
Ba-bum.
Honestly, not just the Hat Rat kids. Are you like that with every role? Do you take your time before and look after yourself and do your own thing?
I would like to say professional. It could borderline on being anal. If my dresser isn't here by the 15, I'm likely to call you and be like, where are you? You're a minute late. Only because it has a knock-on effect to what I need to do to be able to deliver the best that I can do that day. And again, say goodnight to my daughter. If I don't speak to her at that time and find out about her day, I'm missing her before she goes to sleep. And obviously, as a mother, not being there for bedtime is killer anyway, working evenings. So them times before I go on stage are very precious to me. When I'm playing, whoever I'm playing, when it was Whitney, I used to always listen to some Whitney songs just to get me in a frame of Whitney. With Tina, I will always pop on Tina on YouTube, watch her mannerisms, create some new moments that I can try and find within the show. And if I've got people coming in, oh, Zoe, can I just, no. Yeah. You've got till the half to come in and give me my notes and come in and faff around if you want to do whatever. But then everybody needs to be out, and I need to be dressed by the 15, and then I'm fully dressed at the 15, but as Tina. And then I will say goodnight to my daughter, and then I will take what is left of it, 5 minutes of me time just to tune into playing Tina.
Okay, there's two things on that. One, I'm obsessed with the fact that you say goodnight to your daughter dressed as Tina every night.
Every night. In any show. So when I was a witch, I had a ball cap on. I was like, night, princess! With my witchy fingers and a bald head.
Have you got, screenshots of these conversations?
I've got all the conversations, yeah.
Perfect.
She's like, night, ma'am. I'm like, night. As a witch. In any job, like even like pantos and things I've done over the year, and they're the fairy wand or like a wicked witch. Anything. Like I'm always dressed up, yeah.
I literally can't wait for the picture pages in your book where we can see all of those screenshots of you and Aria. That's so good. Do you still find, having done the role for a while now, that there are things that you look at her and you go, oh, I can do that bit, like new things?
There are loads, and we are forever learning about Tina and her mannerisms and how she is, because she changed a lot from a young Tina, from Ike and the Tina Turner Review, into the artist that is Tina Turner. So she does different things throughout the whole span of her career, and finds different moments. But it's also important for me in particular to find their moments and also make them mine, because I'm not a tribute. I'm an actress trying to portray this life story. I'm not a tribute of Tina Turner. So you get to the mega mix, and there's probably loads of things that I don't do that are Tina. I do as Zoe. as well.
But that's what we want at the end there, because we've gone on Tina's journey with you, the journey.
Yeah.
Tina's journey, Tina's story with you as Zoe Birkett, the actress playing Tina. But we've fallen in love with your version and your portrayal of her and the respect that you've had for her throughout the show and for her story. So then when we get a bit of you and your flavour and spice at the end, I'm speaking for the fans of the show here, but I'm sure you'll agree with me. For me, that's what we want. We want that Zoe there. And you are just so iconic as a human being, but in this role, people will talk about it for decades and decades and decades.
Thank you. I hope so. It's been, honestly, a wonderful 8 months. I mean, I'm there until the end of June. And I think it's one of those roles that I will always love, and maybe I'll come back to it, at a different time in my life. Who knows? But it's been a massive learning curve for me as an actress, as a vocalist. I've learned so much about my voice. Honestly, I just thought I could sing one way, and then all of a sudden I'm learning new tricks, and I've got little things in my pocket for days that I'm tired. I'm like, I can use that one today in my voice. So I've learned so much from me as an actress, a vocalist, as a mother, trying to create the correct balance. I've loved the schedule. I have to say, I think that should be more with big West End, female leads. We should be able to share a role on especially something like an Alphabet as well. It's like, why don't we have a shared role? Because especially if you've got women with children, it enables us to create a balance which makes better performances for you.
Yeah, babe, I could talk about that all day.
Honestly.
And we will have to have you back on, because there's much
more
that I want to
know.
talk to you about.
Series 2.
So absolutely, entirely. I ask every guest if you can pinpoint, if not the most surreal, but a super surreal moment in your career. Good, bad, ugly, whatever you want it to be.
I think probably, the Pop Idol days of back then, when Wembley Arena was like Wembley Arena, we didn't have all, the bigger ones now. Going out there and being like, good evening, Wembley! And just seeing like thousands of fans with like banners with my name on, we love you, Zoe. People had all the merchandise on. I had like, we had everything back then, like the scarves, the t-shirts. People could buy all of the fan stuff that we loved back then, which kind of doesn't really happen anymore, because pop stars are so accessible with the power of the internet. But those type of moments, walking out on stage and saying like, good evening, Wembley, to thousands of people who were just there to sing your songs and, buying your merchandise was like super, super cool.
I did that.
Were you I saw you. You on the front row. I'm joking. It was you,
I
wasn't
was
it?
actually in the third row.
Were you?
I'm not joking. I've still got the t-shirt. You know the one with all the faces around the outside?
Yeah.
I've got that. So it's in my box of stuff that I have at home with my stuff from like X Factor tour and stuff. Like, there's certain things that I don't want to let go. Yeah. And that for me, having that like fan experience of you guys as a kid, and then going in through X Factor and knowing, these are the people that I'm stepping in the footsteps of, the footprints. And I will occasionally go back and I'll go through that, and I've got like a couple of things from school and that t-shirt, and I can't let go of it. I won't. I
Next
really
time I
won't.
see you, I want to see you wear it.
Absolutely, babe. Yeah. It won't fit my leg now.
I've got a question for you, funny enough, because I don't know whether you have or whether you haven't, but I've never, even still today, watched an episode back of me on telly. Have you? Have you? No. I'm the same. Like, absolutely not.
I've seen the clip of my first audition where I'm like, hi, I'm literally like Nessa. I'm like, I'm Lucy from Cardiff, and I just want to sing, really, and I want people to think, wow, when I sing. And I've seen that, and that is quite enough. Yeah.
So all the things that people tag you in over the years, I'm like, okay, I've seen that bit, but I've never actually watched any of the episodes back.
No, I don't know if I would want to. I think maybe one day why don't you come over? I'll come up yours. And we'll have a bottle of wine. Yeah, and we'll sit and laugh.
And
we'll do a bit of yours and we'll do a bit of mine.
Right.
And because I love connecting with people about this sort of thing, actually. Like people who've done other reality TV stuff or had those like sort of non-conventional routes into the industry. But then at the end of the day, we've all ended up in musical theatre and we love it. And this is where we always maybe should have been. Yeah. I love those conversations. We're like, oh, did you have that thing and that thing? Oh my God. Yeah. We could do a whole episode probably about, why don't we do that? We'll watch our bits. Yeah. Watch our bits.
That's all. I'm not going to lie. Because I turned 40 in June, and that is on my to-do list, because my daughter, bearing in mind, is literally like, everyone's like, your mummy used to be really famous, and Ari's like, okay, like whatever, like, And I want to be able to kind of show her some moments, but
Yeah.
I've never watched them myself. So this year I've kind of promised myself, maybe with the power of like TikTok and things, I'm like, maybe I should film myself watching myself.
Yeah.
But I'll probably spend the whole time like, ugh.
Okay, Zoe, we're
should do that.
we're actually going to
All
do
right, let's
this,
make
and we'll
something.
sit down and we'll do another episode of this.
Okay.
Talking
I'm already
about
cringing.
where we'll do a bit of X Factor, a bit of Pop Idol,
Right.
and then I'll wear my T-shirt.
Yes. Okay.
I'll
All
wear
right,
my
fine.
T-shirt.
We'll do that.
Zoe, thank you so much.
That was great
You're
fun, wasn't it?
a
Loved that.
freaking legend.
Thank you,
I love
mate.
you
So
so
are you.
much as a fan
Thank
and
you.
as a person. I'm in awe of you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being the icon that you are.
Oh, don't. I'll have a little cry now.
No, I'm so
Thank you,
serious. This role is like game changing, and you've been a game changer many, many times. But
Thank
this
you,
one
babes.
is, whew, you're blowing our freaking little minds
Thank
here, babe.
you.
So
Appreciate
thank
you.
you for giving that to us, and thank you for giving us your time on
Not
your
a
day
problem.
off whilst playing that role that
You're
has no
alright.
wee break.
It's okay.
So-
My daughter's outside my husband, so now I've got to go and be a mum now.
Oh,
so.
there we go. Back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Zoe Birkett.
Thank you.
Lucie Jones doing a podcast and it's just begun. Lucie Jones needed a theme tune, so I wrote a one. And it goes like this, off script. With Lucie Jones.